So, hello, how y'all doing? Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Bianca. I am the founder and community reporter of Teaching for the Culture. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to share this live on my personal Facebook page because I'm operating as Teaching for the Culture today, the community reporter. So let me go ahead and get this set up. And for those of you that's watching, say hey, invite your people to this live because we are going to do an investigation together. This is going to be a journey where we are going to talk about a very serious incident right here in Hillsborough County that we need some accountability, some transparency, and integrity. So let me go ahead and get this shared on my page. And for those of you watching, please share it with other people because this is going to be a really good episode and we need some accountability. Okay, I shared it. So I'm going to wait a little bit until some more people come on because I have to do this story in chronological order so that this makes sense. So I want to tell this story from beginning to end. Here's a summary of the situation. There was an incident that took place at a school in Tampa, Florida, and there was a lot of people that were advocating for justice to take place. And we have now reached a time, an opportunity where, we hoped that things would, work and we would have some accountability. But unfortunately, I found out that the mother wasn't even invited to the meeting. And with that being said, I don't even know what the intentions were of having this conversation. I've been getting text messages and emails all day in regards to this particular school in Tampa, and I want you guys to join this investigation. This is an exclusive investigation that I have been doing since February at LaVoy Exceptional Center in Tampa, Florida. This is a Hillsborough County public school and is located in a district where you have a lot of children that do not receive equity in education. LaVoy has wonderful teachers that work there. I want to just put that out there that this is not to bash the school or the people that work hard for the students every day. For the people that operate in good intentions and do what's best for our children, those are the people that we need to celebrate and applaud. It's the people who abuse children. It's the people that continue to lie, manipulate data. It's the people that operate in unclean hands. It's something that we have to really deal with because we cannot have these people working around children. And it goes back to, the article that was just posted at Jefferson, where there was a man that was arrested for having inappropriate contact relation with a 14-year-old. And, they wanted to say that they were in a relationship. No, that's pedophilia. Call it what it is. And that's what this whole purpose is. So, Miss Anderson said, what did I miss? You didn't miss anything because I wanted to make sure that some people got on so that we can all follow along with the investigation. So now that you guys are here, thank you guys for tuning in to Teaching for the Culture. This is your host, Bianca Goolsby, and I am the founder and community reporter of Teaching for the Culture. And our organization is to bridge the gap and to have real conversations about what's happening in school systems and to advocate for children and to give children a voice and to empower parents on their rights and responsibilities as a parent, and also work and advocate for our children, especially the ones that need the most support. So I want you to follow along with me as I take a journey to LaVoy Exceptional Center, which is in Tampa, Florida. I want to go ahead and share this article with you. It is from ABC Action News, and this is Tampa School is investigating special needs teacher accused of physically abusing a student. So let me go ahead and refresh this so that the video pops up, okay? And I'm going to pause it, get this queued up because I want you guys to have an accurate depiction of what's taking place at this school.
16 minutes till 6. A special needs teacher at Tampa's LaVoy Exceptional Center is the subject of a school investigation after a child is sent home with these red marks on his face.
The mother of that child speaking with ABC Action News reporter Vanessa Ariza. Let's go to her now. Vanessa, she's pushing for some action here.
She is, James. Good morning to you and Dia. That mother telling me that she wants detailed information about teachers here at LaVoy Exceptional Center as to how they're trained when it comes to restraining students. 9-year-old Amari loves school, but he was pulled out of LaVoy Exceptional Center by his mother, Maya Collins, after she says he was physically abused by a teacher.
She did say that he was acting out to where he required a restraint. And in the process, she wanted me to know that he was going to come home with marks on his face due to being restrained.
A police report was filed after the incident. Tampa police found no charges were necessary, but not before documenting witnesses' accounts. One witness said Omari's teacher, who we are not identifying because there are no charges filed, used a basket hold while walking him to the calm down room. It was there, according to the report, Omari began to throw his shoes and hit his head against the wall. The reasoning for the restraint. One witness recorded audio, the report noting the teacher can be heard cursing at Omari.
My thing is not against the restraint process. Again, it's against how you're doing it. I'm pretty sure there's a safe way to do it without harming a child.
We asked school representatives about students who are restrained. Per policy, if a child is restrained, an incident report has to be prepared within 24 hours. Collins says that didn't happen. The school wouldn't comment on the teacher as this is an open investigation, but they did say via email, quote, in general, there may be instances where a student may need to be escorted from one location to another to help reduce anxiety or separate them from a situation that may be contributing to a behavior issue. There is no restraint necessary in these cases, so a log would not need to be created. Collins has obtained an attorney and has taken her concerns to Tallahassee. She says she wants more transparency when it comes to student restraints at the school. Vanessa Ariza, ABC Action News.
Okay, so from this video, you would think that the teacher was fired, the teacher was reprimanded, that they handled it, that Omari is getting the resources that he needs, that, he's getting support for what took place, that, they're making sure that they're following procedures moving forward to ensure the safety and welfare of the children. Well, unfortunately, this is the exclusive investigation into LaVoy as to how this behavior is continuing, and people continue to push this under the rug. Follow along. So after this report it was featured in ABC Action News, there were people that actually spoke about this particular incident that was featured in ABC Action News. Now, mind you, this incident was documented in November. So now I want to fast forward this journey, this investigation to January 14th, 2020 to be exact, where people actually came to the school board meeting to speak to the board about what was continuing to take place at LaVoy during this situation.
Welcome, Ms. Grissom. You have 2 minutes.
Good morning, good evening, board members and Superintendent Aikens. My name is Kathy Grissom. I'm a member of the PTA at LaVoy ESE. I'm here with my son Landon, that's in the wheelchair back there, who attends LaVoy. This is my first board meeting, so you can understand I'm nervous, and I would only be here if it was not of utmost concern. And I was made aware of a horrible incident that happened to a student at our school on October 4th. As a fellow special needs mom, I came here tonight because I'm sick to my stomach hearing that this teacher that was involved in the incident was not reprimanded, but instead she's now being recommended for promotion to the supervisory SE position. I guarantee this would not be the case if it was a bigger school that got more attention, but we're a little ESE school with 70 students. And LaVoy's principal and the alleged teacher need to be upheld to the same standards as other schools, if not even higher. These kids are vulnerable, they're fragile, they can't speak for themselves. I mean, look at our children back there. Put yourself in our shoes. If this was your child going to this school and you hear about another child being abused physically and verbally, and there's audio tape and there's witnesses, there was teachers that actually called the abuse hotline because they were so disturbed by what they saw. And instead of the matter being handled, those teachers that did question it were reprimanded by the principal for bringing this concern up. And then, like I said, the person was not even removed from the teaching. Nothing happened to her. This is just not acceptable behavior by our principal. LaVoy has wonderful teachers that truly deserve good leadership. Our children desperately need and deserve better leadership. Please, please, I beg you guys, investigate this further before you promote this person. Investigate the school, investigate the principal, how she handled it. There's so many discrepancies. There was protocols and forms left out. It's bad.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Our next speaker is Kristen O'Donnell. Welcome, Ms. O'Donnell.
Hi, thank you very much. Good afternoon, board members, Superintendent Eakins. I am the PTA president at LaVoy Exceptional Center. I am also here with my daughter. She's in the back. She's 15 years old. She's been there since she was 12 years old. So I'm a big part of LaVoy. I love LaVoy. I love the teachers. I'm a former teacher myself. I had to stop after Katie was born because of all the medical issues, and that's fine. I'm where I need to be. One of the things that I take pride in is making sure we have 4 children. One is already graduated from the Hillsborough County Public School System. I have 3 left. I've always taken pride in being supportive of the Hillsborough County Public School System. And I would do anything that I can to make sure that our school is safe. We are at times left on the back burner. LaVoy is a small school, and we do nothing but try to make it better. On October 3rd, I was approached, and an incident that Ms. Grissom just told you about was brought to my attention. I did go into the principal with Ms. Grissom and Ms. Grantham, who will be up later. And I was absolutely appalled and disgusted the way that it was handled by the principal and another board member that was also there, that supposedly is one of her very good friends. It was brushed aside. Like Ms. Grissom said, there's audio, there's pictures. We have tried and tried and tried. We've called, we've sent emails. We're just being ignored. It's brushed aside. My question is, can you lay your head down at night knowing that what you did was the right thing? Please do not brush this aside. Please help us. Please hear us. Our principal is getting ready to leave. We need someone in there with passion. We need someone there with love. We need someone to support us and our kids. We don't know what else to do, but we're not going to stop fighting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. O'Donnell. Our next speaker will be Maya Collins, followed by Omari Mobley and Kate Grantham.
Omari Mobley will not be taking the stand. He is a minor. He did want to speak until he saw how many people were here. So he's in the back. Oh, and that's okay. Okay. I'm Omari's mother. Good evening, board members and Superintendent Eakins. My name is Maya Collins, and I'm the mother of Omari Mobley, a child that fell victim to your hired ESC staff. My son was born with heart disease, resulting in neurological damages due to surgeries. He's been an ESC student for 4 years with Hillsborough County School District. Starting out in general ed with little support, he was introduced to special services that were tailored to support his needs. Noticing the increase in behaviors, we resorted to numerous IEP meetings, which eventually raised his needs and required more ESC support. In one incident, which happened at BC Graham Elementary, where Omari was hurt, and I was given a phone call which said that it was the injury was self-inflicted. However, the severity of the injury and the account given by Omari told a different story. Omari's right pinky finger bone was shattered into pieces, and his growth plate was flipped. The ESC support specialist responsible was not reprimanded, nor was she removed from being around other students. And in a recent incident that was publicly broadcast on ABC News at LaVoy Exceptional Center, was responsible for leaving red marks on Omari's face and arm, in which I have passed around photos for you all to see. The teacher was not reprimanded or removed from the classroom. However, has been since given a larger responsibility at the school. I, as a parent, have no confidence in Hillsborough County Schools' ability to provide free and appropriate public education for my child with special needs. I have made a decision to temporarily remove Omari from Hillsborough County Public Schools since the last incident. My child has accrued 38 absences from October 7th, 2019 to December 4th, 2019, where I made the decision to place him in a private school.
Final thoughts, please.
I would just want to make sure that this is not swept under the rug. I want to make sure that someone goes and investigates outside of Area 1. I feel like everyone there is covering this up. And that's my final thoughts.
And thank you for that information. Mr. Superintendent, could we have maybe Ms. Brown work with this parent to address some of those issues? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. So you would think, okay, well, maybe things didn't happen locally at the school. So they had to speak to the board to make sure that, the board can advocate to make sure that things take place at LaVoy. So Maya Collins, was talking about Area 1. And so I want to make sure that everyone is following this story. So for those of you that are not familiar with Hillsborough County, I want to be able to kind of paint this story so that you have all the receipts, because now is the time where we've been advocating for this particular situation since it's taking place in November, and the teacher still is employed with the district getting a check, and they have not been held accountable for their actions. And today's events prove just that. So I'm going to share my screen to show you Area 1. Okay. Area 1 superintendent, we are referring to Lisa Yotes, the area superintendent for District 1. So everyone's all heart, mind are clear. That is Area 1. Okay. So moving forward along to this journey, you would think that, because, Tracy Brown is going to go talk to, this woman to talk to Maya Collins, that, maybe, Ms. Brown would be able to assist her issue and making sure that there's some accountability that takes place in regards to her son. Well, I'm here to tell you that we are still here in this situation, and I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Teaching for the Culture has been involved in this investigation. The teachers contacted me to come to the school for the Black History Month event. And when I went to the school event, that is when they talked to me about the issues at LaVoy. And I have been working with the teachers, the parents, and Maya Collins since that time. In fact, Maya Collins will actually be joining this conversation so that you could hear from her own mouth what has been taking place. Because all the receipts right here, I played what the people said to the school board members. I'm about to show you guys the receipts. So now I'm demanding the community hold these people accountable, because I don't understand why we have a child abuser still working in our school district. And why is it taking so long to hold people accountable? And why is it that I have to leverage personal relationships in order to get stuff done? Why couldn't this just been handled when Maya Collins, the parent, reached out about this situation? Why did it have to go to all of this in order for some accountability, transparency, and integrity? And so since people want to be hush, hush, quiet, quiet about situations and push things under the rug and think that no one's going to talk about it, I'm here to tell you that this is what Teaching for the Culture is for, to hold people accountable for the things that they do and for the things that they're impacting our children. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and pull up some receipts here. Okay. By the way, this is public record. I'm pulling up my phone because people lie, receipts don't. So I'm gonna tell you all the people involved in this. I emailed certain people today, didn't hear no response. The teachers, the parents reached out to me. Maya Collins didn't even get an invitation for this investigation that they were doing today, which is beyond me. So I'm just going to tell y'all like it is. People lie, receipts don't. People need to be held accountable. And if y'all abusing children, I'm not protecting you if you abusing children. I'm not protecting you if you harming children. And for all these people that have allowed this to be moved under the rug, you need to be held accountable too, because y'all knew abuse was taking place at that school in November. In January, they went to the board and they was explaining that the same teacher that abused that child got a promotion. This is so good. So I'm going to share my screen with you, because I'm showing you my email that I sent. I've been investigating this since February. We about to hit the end of the school year, and you think that you gonna let the principal, the teacher, the abuser, and the area superintendent get away with it during this pandemic? Maya, I know you watching. Go ahead and get queued up. I'm about to read this email, and then I'm gonna have you come on so you could tell your truth, because this right here, we're gonna expose this here. I've been doing this investigation since February now. Okay, about the abuse. Okay, this the email here, right? All right, so I can't read that small print right there, so let me go ahead and pull it up on my phone. I'm sending dissertation paragraphs about what's happening at this school. What's the heading of this? Urgent attention. You know why I did urgent attention? Because I was dealing with this. I sent this email in March. Now, to be very clear, I sent a whole Google Drive about what was taking place at this school. I'm gonna show you the Google Drive. I had a whole investigation file with the photos, statements. The teachers trusted me enough to get statements. They actually put their name on the line, knowing the retaliatory tactics of the district. They trusted me enough to put their name on the line to write statements, because at one point they was afraid to write statements because of what was taking place and what was being covered up at that school. And if y'all covered up a whole investigation, and then you had the principal lie to the Tampa Police Department, which is a crime, by the way. Be very clear. She lied to the police department, told the police department that she was right there. The witnesses said that she wasn't even there. She had no idea what was taking place. So again, why is someone that's being accused of child abuse still working at the school? Don't you remove them per policy, and then y'all do an internal investigation, figure out what's going on, and if there's no action, then y'all, create a plan to re-enter the teacher back? No, y'all then promoted her. Y'all promoted her on top of that. Okay. Let me read the receipts, because see. So, good evening, Miss McCray. Miss McCray is the interim chief of schools. I appreciate speaking with you today. I'm urgently requesting action and accountability to take place at LaVoy. The issues continue to escalate, and I'm concerned for the emotional and physical safety of the students and teachers. We have received allegations of abuse, mismanagement of district funds, theft, falsifying student records, FTE fraud, and the list is forever growing at this point. I would like to lay out the events as they occur to ensure all accountability is placed in the correct spaces. Adding some spotlight to this situation will quickly ensure accountability. Some people hired to serve children should be terminated effective immediately. Mind you, this email was sent in March. On February 6, 2020, I spoke at the Black History event. After the presentation, a group of teachers gave me a tour that explained what was taking place. They told me their concerns, and I told them I cannot fight for them unless they provide me receipts. The issues taking place at LaVoy were brought to your attention in writing on February 13th, subsequent to several phone calls by myself and Pastor Elvis Piggott. During public comment, Pastor Piggott advocated for the treatment of ESC students after the incident that occurred with Omari. I have provided the statement from the mother attached in this Google folder. He had a conversation with Miss Tracy Brown, so I'm looping her into this conversation as well. You followed up with me via phone stating that you needed more information to accompany the submitted complaint and the pictures to clear the holes of the complaint. The pictures show clear fire code violations, concerns for the welfare of children being placed in that room, the same room where the alleged abuse took place, and an audio clip of a child in distress. I have reviewed the original complaint submitted again, and I have asked the teacher to answer some following questions that I consider holes in her initial complaint. I advised her to add you into the party of this communication so that you can receive this information directly from her. We have had several phone calls during the last conversation with your office. During one of these conversations, we discussed the issues with schedules. The same issue was identified in the initial complaint submitted to you on February 13th, 2020. The allegation is that part-time teachers are being paid full-time. This is a misallocation of tax dollars when we have several schools short on staff and resources. The Office of Professional Standards allegedly came in and noticed the disparity with the schedules. Based on what was reported to me, a team was working to fix the issues. One of the team members included was Lisa Yotes, who was notified of the issue months prior to Teaching for the Culture stepping in. I go back to say, most of this was provided in the initial information provided to you to address this. This information in exchange are also provided in the Google Drive. It can only lead me to believe that you were not intentional with the information that I provided to you on February 13th, 2020. I received additional information regarding LaVoy that is out of control and requires more spotlight and accountability effective immediately. Now, let's see. Let me scroll up on my thing right here so y'all can follow along, okay? I put my heart and soul into this because I need some accountability for that child that was abused and everything else taking place. On February 27, 2020, I received an email from another teacher at LaVoy with allegations that one of the cameras purchased with district funds were removed from her room. This teacher has experienced theft of items in her classroom, and she reported it to the principal. Based on the teacher's statement, no police reports were filed and no actions were taken. The district approved cameras were only turned on after the students left for the day. As part of the teacher's program, her class is required to run a business. She has expensive items and cash on hand for her program. The cameras were purchased to combat the frequent thefts that would occur in her classroom. This detail is vital to ensure the correct narrative is presented with these facts. Ms. Statham and another unknown district official, Ms. Statham is the principal of LaVoy. So now all names on here. Okay, were caught on camera whispering and holding a small cube identified as the camera. Later that evening, the nurse witnessed them attempting to remove the SD card from tweezers. This information in exchange are provided in the Google Drive. Mind you, the video of this incident is in the Google Drive. On February 28, 2020, I contacted your office promptly after reading the clarification from the teacher and the complaint from another teacher. I advised your receptionist that I needed a call back by the end of the day because the matter was urgent. I never received a call back, so I called back today, March 2nd, 2020, and left another message. I received a call back from you at 4:27 p.m. at the end of the day. Based on my conversation with you, it gave me some pause. These allegations presented by these teachers with photo and video receipts concern me that no proper accountability has taken place. It also concerns me that the parties involved in this corruption are also on the team to investigate it. This school, we have teachers afraid of their livelihood because of the school culture so broken and corrupt. We have children that are being harmed and allegedly terrified of Miss Morris. That's the teacher, allegedly. We have alleged fraud being committed at this school. We have alleged thefts that's taking place at this school. I have received several phone calls daily from the teachers, paras, nurses, and schools saying enough is enough. I can't continue to sit by and hope that you make things right. These issues are coming into the light so we can have some true accountability and integrity. Our ESC students are one of the most vulnerable populations, and I cannot sit back and wait for any action to take place when I sent you the information back in February. The school environment is hostile, teachers are afraid to speak up, and issues continue to escalate. As a reminder, Lisa Yotes was sent most of this information prior to Teaching for the Culture stepping in. When the original complaint was sent to Office of Professional Standards, it was sent back to Lisa Yotes to address it. Learning that she is involved with this current investigation is unacceptable because she needs to be held accountable for her inaction of the alleged fraud, abuse, mismanagement occurring on this campus. It's also my understanding that she is set to retire this year. This does not shield her from liability for the negligence and being complicit with defrauding the Florida Department of Education. I hope that fixing the issue would expedite now that we have more eyes on the situation. It has gotten out of control since the first published incident this school year on November 12, 2019. Here's the link to the Google Drive that contains the receipts of our investigation. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. Okay. So that was the email, right? I sent that email in March. And so that was after the fact that I did not feel as though things were moving with this. This lady still works at the school. She has abused children. And then I get a phone call that there's more children that's being harmed. So not only did this abuse happen to one child, but no, it's happening to more children. And it's the same teacher who did the mess with Amari. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my Google Drive. And this is the folder: schedules, receipts, statements, videos, emails, all of this stuff now. All of this stuff. And you mean to tell me when this was sent and prepared to you that there was nothing that y'all can do? I want y'all to look. I want y'all to look at that. I want y'all to look at that, and I want you to see how this was covered up. The every window that you could possibly see that was taking place. I took a picture. That's what it looked like when I was there in February. It was boarded up. Even the vent on the door is covered up. And you can see that right here. This little poster board that's taped with blue tape is covering the filter of the door. Which, you know what that does, right? It muffles sound. The same sound from the audio clips that's posted in the Google Drive. So fast forward, I said, okay, well, I'm trying to figure out what's some results here. So I hear that we're going to have a meeting. So I had a Zoom meeting. It was me. It was Pastor Piggott. It was Maya Collins. Maya, if you watch and click the link and hop on so you can tell the people. Let me text you. Make sure you. Let's see here. All right, yeah, she on. Okay. So I'm gonna pause there. Maya Collins is here, and I'm gonna add her to this conversation because I want her to tell you, did she get a link today about a meeting? How you doing, Maya?
Good. How are you today?
If we have justice for your son, that will make everything better. I'm hot right now, really.
I feel you. This has been me for a year now with Hillsborough County Schools.
So kind of walk people through from kind of like my summary, like where you at, how's your son doing, what trauma he's experienced, like kind of give people the rundown. And for the board members, I see a couple commenting on here. Let them know that, like, because we've talked to a whole bunch of people.
Yes, we have. I've talked. I like to let everybody know that I've talked to everybody but the president, but number 45, basically, in regards to this situation. I've called to Tallahassee. I've talked to some people on the Senate. I've talked to you name it. I've talked to a lot of people in regards, and I've definitely talked to everybody in Area 1 in regards to this situation. And the incident actually occurred on September 19th, 2019. However, the ball didn't get rolling until October 4th
Wow.
after the video, I'm sorry, an audio surfaced.
That's an important detail there. So it happened way before the news media came into the picture, because you were trying to get accountability for it to even go to the media to bridge awareness for what's taking place.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah.
so generally, again, this kind of started in in January with another school in the same area where Omari, who's an ESC student, he was had a certain percentage as an ESC student and in class student. So he would go, I think, 25% of his time to an ESC classroom, in which at the time, they didn't, we were still trying to figure things out, because again, the neurological damage that was done from the operations caused him to have what's called frontal lobe deficit disorder, which impacts his impulsivities and behaviors. So
Wow.
everybody, who deals with Omari knows Omari. They know how Omari's going to act. No, I don't condone how Omari acts, and I'm not saying it's okay, but generally, if you deal with him, you're going to know how he's going to act. And again, this was prior to him being placed on any type of medication, because at the end of the day, I still have to take into consideration that he has a history of cardio health issues. So Omari decided that he was going to play a joke on one of the teachers like he normally does every day. And she got upset with him that day. And, what they called me and told me that happened to my child was that they told me that Omari hit his hand on a desk. So I'm thinking, okay, he hit his hand on the desk. That's typical for Omari, because when he gets upset, he will bam his hand or do something. So I didn't take any, I didn't, blame anybody or say something was malicious. Take him to the ER, and they take an X-ray of his finger, and the doctor looking at me like, you got to be crazy, because there's no way in the world this, as small as he is, his finger is broken the way that it is because he slammed it on the desk. So long story short, he came out, his finger was broken into several pieces. His growth plate was flipped. So that's the impact of what happened to his finger. And I went to go talk to the teacher just get get an idea of what happened, and immediately she was on the defense. So at that point, you know after Omari told me, because after I'm explaining it to the doctor, Omari was like, no, mommy, that's not what really happened. What really happened was, and then he told me what really happened. So from that incident, the school board did not remove this teacher from the school. I had a younger daughter that went to the school, so I still had to go to the school, even though I pulled Omari out of the school. And when I would go to pick my daughter up, I would see her, and I'm like, I can't believe she's still there. Like, what's the policies and procedures? She's under investigation. How come she's still on campus working around other people's children? Even if she wasn't, found guilty at the time, I still thought that there was a procedure that they have to be removed from that particular school from around children, even if it's send them downtown to work on something like an administrative leave or whatever. That never happened. So that's kind of where it all started with me and my lack of trust, so to speak, in the Hillsborough County School. So when he was transferred to the next school, they put him in a quote unquote ESC setting. Now, this teacher that he worked with there was phenomenal. She made sure that I had a copy of every time Omari was restrained, every time he was secluded. And she explained to me, hey, whenever somebody puts their hand on your child, if they don't give you this, you ask for it, because this is what we are supposed to do. Not only did she put one in my hand, she put one in the mail, and and she sent one home with Omari. So I had like 3 copies of each time this, particular teacher, laid hands on him. However, that setting was not enough for Omari. So, we took his IEP meeting back to the table. Then at this point, they were like, hey, we're going to have to put him in an ESC center. So I went and I did the tour of LaVoy. And again, I'm a hands-on person. I'm not the mother that just send my child to school and be like, I see you when I quit my job that I was on for years when he was born because I wanted to make sure that he had everything he needed. I tried to go back to corporate America when I thought he was doing better, but then, he was doing better cardiac wise, but then the neurology stuff started. So I had to leave work again because my child is important and I can always get another job or whatever, but I can't get another Omari. So I'm that person that's physically at the school. I'm up in your face. I'm asking questions. I'm calling. If you need me to come to the school, I'm right there. Just call me and say, hey, Omari is this. So, for me to be that person and then get to LaVoy, and when I go up there to do like a little drop in, they're like, oh, wait a minute, let me call the teacher. And they have to call her first, and then 10 minutes later she comes up, and then so that kind of bothered me a little bit because I'm like, hey, aren't you supposed to at least be able to, walk in, sign in, and just go? Like, why am I having to stay out here and wait? I understand that there is a policy and procedure for that as well, but again, I should be able to access my child whenever, I need to. So when this incident happened on September 19th, the teacher called me and she explained to me that he was going to come home with some marks on his face because she had to restrain him. So I said, okay, I'll take a look at it when he gets home, because I didn't, think it was that serious. I mean, not to say that I didn't think it was that serious, but I didn't think the marks were going to be what they were. I'm thinking maybe, Omari was struggling or trying to get away or something, and maybe, something happened where he had a small mark. Well, my boyfriend went to the school to go and, check out everything because he's very, very he's one of the ones who takes care of him. So he went up there and basically he called me. He like, no, you might want to come up here and look at this because this ain't no small scratch. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I go up to the school and lo and behold, the pictures that you showed earlier, his face he had a 6-inch mark on the side of on the side of his face, and then one right below it was about 5 inches, and then on the left side he also had like a 3 inch, and then he had like a scratch on his left arm, in which the teacher admitted that I might have did that with my nails. So I questioned her about her nails because I was like, wait a minute, being that you work in this environment and you have to restrain children, aren't you all required to have low cut nails? Like, why do you have a full set on? She was like, oh, well, I haven't had to, Omari's been pretty good because she worked one-on-one with Omari. So she's like, Omari's been pretty good and I haven't had to, do these things. So I was thinking maybe it was okay to get my nails done and look cute. And I'm like, well, I understand that, but scratched my son's arm. So again, I wasn't mad or mean or anything because again, I know my child and I work with my baby and I understand, someone outside of the family having to work with him as well. So I'm not going to beat a person up for trying to, help my child if that's what you're doing. So, I told her that I asked, at that point, no, there hadn't been any, police reports or anything because this was the same day. So I asked them what was the protocol. I said, well, what's the protocol that you all do? Does the police get involved? Is this reported? Like what happened? So she was like, well, I have to do the incident reports. I'm like, you haven't did the incident report yet? Because I'm supposed to have that like in hand now. She was like, yeah, things got a little bit busy, but I'll get it to you tomorrow. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll come by here and pick it up tomorrow. So at that point, I was coming in, I came in, brought Omari. No, I'm sorry. I kept Omari home. No, I didn't. I brought Omari to the school. And then when I brought him to the school, I asked for the paper. They didn't have it ready. So I was like, well, I'll just get it when I pick him up. So long story short, the DCF called me later on that evening in regards to the incident, said that someone from the school
Uh-oh, we lost her.
and said that there was a issue with that, that there was a report of abuse. So I'm like, okay. So they went out, the police report, the police, DCF, they went out and, I'm sitting at home waiting, like, when are they going to, let me know what's going on? And finally, I called the school. The school said, oh, they're still in investigation. So I was like, well, I just, needed to know because I hadn't talked to the principal at all. The only person that I was in contact with was the teacher. So that was another thing that bothered me, because I'm like, how come the principal hasn't reached out? Anytime at any other school that my child has been involved with the teacher or something, I always, got a phone call from the principal. Well, that never happened. So then I was at a family function on the evening of October 4th, and that's when I got the phone call from the PTA president at the school. And she said, hey, I know you don't know me and I don't know you, but she introduced herself. She said, I have something that you want to hear. And she was like, I'm so, she was very apologetic. First time I heard anybody apologize about what happened to him. And I was like, well, what's going on? She was like, I don't know what they told you that happened to your child in this room, but whatever they told you is probably not what happened, because, I don't see you raising sand. So I'm like, okay, well, let me hear it. And that's when they had the recording. My son is in the background screaming, like, and Omari, if you know Omari, you'll know that he is not a terrified kid. He's not afraid of anything. So to hear him screaming in fear on this audio, that like made my heart drop. So at this point I was like, okay. So he's screaming, she's yelling obscenities, asking him who's the B, and telling, basically like taunting him and challenging him to a fight, asking him, you're gonna fight, you're gonna fight. How is he gonna fight when you're holding him up against the wall? He's a small 8-year-old at this time, and you have him pinned up against the wall asking him, is he gonna fight? So that really hurt me. So at this point I called the PTA president back. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go up to the school on Monday because I need answers. So when I went up to the school, it was handled very, very. First, the principal, I can't, because I had a squad. you know I didn't really know I had a squad at that time, but we kind of formulated over the weekend. But it was myself, a few ladies from the PTA, my boyfriend, my mom, and my cousin, who's an advocate as well for ESC students. And we all went in and talked to Miss Statham, which is the principal at LaVoy. And she kicked us out. Basically, first she told me they can't come in. I said, well, sure they can come in because I'm authorizing them to come in. So she was like, okay, well, there's not enough room in here. I was like, so they were like, well, that's fine, we'll stand. So we all went in this small room and we talked. Then basically she told me that she was following Hillsborough County policies and procedures with what she did, and she had no remorse, she had no empathy. She didn't even so much as say, I'm sorry that Omari isn't here today. Like, she had no, it was just all about, well, my staff did nothing wrong. My staff did nothing wrong. She handled it the way she did, and the police report states that, and they closed it out for a reason. So basically she didn't care. So I said, well, don't you care about the children? I said, even if that is the case, what about Omari? Is there something you would like to say to him? And at this time, I had sent him. I had asked them to. I brought him to school, but I had asked them not to let him go to her class. Asked them to put him in a different class. But she said so. So they did. But after she kicked me out of her office, and because I asked her for a copy of the restraining order, in which she told me there was no restraint done. So I said, well, the teacher called and said she restrained him. So I said, not a restraining order. Well, I don't know. Maybe she got too busy to put it in. I said, well, hey, as I understand, that's mandated of Hillsborough County Schools. So why is that not, done? Somebody's not doing their job. So at that point, she got a little snotty with me, and she was like, well, it's not here, and she's not in today. So as soon as she gets in, I'll have her pull that up. I said, okay, not a problem. I said, well, what about the incident report? I'll get you a copy of the incident report. Okay. I said, well, what about the nurse's report? Because he was seen by the nurse, and she told me because I asked her, I said, is it not policies and procedure for you to call? Aren't you court mandated to call CPS if a child is being abused or has been abused in your? And so she said, well, he wasn't being abused. I let him see the nurse, and the nurse said he was fine. I said, but ma'am, I sent my son to school without those marks on his face, and he came home with those marks on his face. So why didn't you think it was that serious to call someone? So I said, but you're telling me you follow policies and procedures of Hillsborough County. Doesn't sound like it to me. So she got really mad, and she, took the paper and barely held it between her pinky and her finger and dropped it at me like this for me to get it out her hands.
Wow.
And then she basically kicked us off the campus. So we left, but at this time I was on the phone. From then on, I'm calling downtown. I talked to Miss Yost. I talked to Miss Workman. I talked to Miss, you name it. I've talked to like
Name them.
everyone
Name them.
down
Because
there,
I'm
and
naming
I
all
would
these
not
people
stop
need to be
calling
held
until
accountable.
somebody heard me, and they sat there and they listened to me. But that was just about it for them to just end up telling me, well, we have the CPS and the police report in front of us, and they closed it. So at this point, what do you do to protect the kids? Where do you go from there? Like, my question to them was, I understand that, y'all called CPS and everything and they might have closed the case, but what do you do as a district? Because they are outside people, they're outside people. They're not here in the district. So what do y'all have in place for this type of action? I said, and it was abuse. No matter what you call it, it was abuse, because not only did she leave my child face marked up, she cursed at him. So that tells me that she was upset and irate at the time. So you can't tell me, if she tried to tell me, she said, I don't know how it got there, but when I read the police report, it says on there, it says to the police that she might have scratched him. So that tells me you know good and well what you did. So I just really want them to be held accountable. They kept closing cases, and I just call somebody else and add somebody else to it and say, hey, can you reopen this? Can you look at this? And I just been getting a runaround this whole time. It wasn't until you and Pastor Peggy got involved that I've been getting, this much leeway as far as them at least going back out to the school, because they would not do it. No matter how much I called them, no matter I called Tallahassee. I filed a report with Tallahassee. I called professional standards, and I have not gotten anything until you all got involved. And then even at this time, it's kind of like they're still spinning their wheels.
Yep. So this is where it leads us today. So we had a meeting where 2 weeks ago, and
Oh, wait,
Maya
I can't hear
Collins
you.
huh? You can't hear me? Hold on.
Hold on, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. So I literally had called the parents, and I was like, hey, we need to have this group meeting together. That was when school board member Lynn Gray.
I think you might be on mute to me. Because I can't hear you talking.
Can y'all in the comments let me know if y'all hear me, please? We need technical support. Oh. We need technical support. Because I can't hear you talking. Can y'all in the comments let me Okay, they hear me. So probably log off and then come back on. Okay.
I still can't hear you.
All right, let me see. Okay, Maya, come back on. Kind of log off and come back on, because they can hear me and they can hear you too. So I think it's something with the phone. So that was from Maya, right? That's the mom who still received the runaround in regards to this situation. So okay, so you think, well, what is happening now? Well, so there was a meeting 2 weeks ago where Maya Collins was present, Elvis Piggott was present, I was present, school board member Lynn Gray was present, Shay McCray was present, Kim Workman was present, Tracy Brown was present. We had a whole collaborative meeting. The PTA president of LaVoy was there. You had 2 other people that were there. It was a lot of people on this Zoom meeting. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about we need to have some executables, because this principal has said that she was leaving and not coming back, and she needs to be held accountable for not being truthful to the police department and pushing this investigation under the rug. And then the second thing was in regards to Lisa Yotes, because Office of Professional Standards had sent her the same type of complaint and they closed it out. And it's more stuff to just Omari. And that's what I'm going to expose today. So. Okay. So I'm going to go and I'm going to read this receipt. This is public record, folks. Public record. So I saw a couple school board members in here, and y'all say y'all gonna handle it. Well, y'all was sitting there on the day is January 14th, 2020, and heard this story from Maya Collins. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. Straight action from here on out, period. Because another child was abused at this school, and Maya Collins still does not have accountability. Y'all have where now this is going up a step here, because the Florida Department of Education ready to snatch teacher certificates when they work together on that Esau Moodle that y'all have that don't really cater to Esau and Hillsborough County. Be clear. Y'all ready to snatch a teacher certificate for Esau, but yet an alleged child abuser is still getting. Then you got the principal that lied about it and lied to the Tampa Police Department and alleged that they were present when they weren't present. The principal lied in that investigation. That's why that investigation was closed. So then when I talked to someone in the district about this, and they kept saying that the teacher was promoted, the teacher was promoted. Well, they were looking at the board agenda to see if there was any transfers and appointments. And because there was no transfers and appointments, they assumed that, they didn't know what they was talking about or whatever have you, because no one got promoted. It was a site promotion, not a district promotion that the board had to approve. But of course, you had to go in to go get, you had to do research in order to figure out the truth. It's all in black and white. The teachers have made complaints about they falsifying schedules, and that is FTE fraud. That is fraud in the Florida Department of Education. You got where district funds, they have certain teachers getting paid to have these nice elaborate meals on campus, and they don't give the rest of the teachers any. They don't do it. They don't do that and keep the same energy for the students. But meanwhile, Maya Collins wasn't invited to this meeting that was supposed to take place today, when that really is the icing on the cake. You have abuse. You have fraud and seclusion records documented where some of the teachers have not documented properly by policy on when they're secluding students, which is also a violation for the Florida Department of Education, because you're mandated to, provide accurate receipts on that. And then in Maya Collins' story, I learned new information about this case today. I didn't know that she had to advocate for so long in order for the media to get involved. I saw the video and I saw what took place, and then that's how we got connected. And that's when I started to talk to all these different people. So I gave a list to the chief of schools, the interim chief of schools, Shay McCray, of all the people that she needed to talk to for this investigation. And Maya Collins was on that list with her email address and her contact information, so that she can explain about what happened to her child, so she could repeat the same story, because the people who was on the Zoom call 2 weeks ago was the same people that heard the same story that did nothing about it. And what angers me the most about this situation is that you have Black people that are complicit with trauma being inflicted on our children. First of all, abuse was taking place. No one was held accountable, and we still tap dancing around the problem. And the teachers texting me saying that they don't even feel comfortable with, the interview that they had today because it was asking basic questions. It wasn't asking questions in regards to what happened to Amari. It wasn't asking questions in regards to how certain people are getting paid full time, but they only working part time and they Netflixing and chilling at the school. And we didn't talk about the issues where you have, people coming and going as they please and how things are getting stolen from the school. We didn't talk about how they are in a hostile work environment because of the principal, because of some of the teachers at the school. And again, where is some accountability? So, whole bunch of comments here. Okay. And let me see here. Maya Collins says, yes, I have receipts. She lied. She lied to the Tampa Police Department. And, Shay McCray probably looked at that report and said, oh, well, this is what the Tampa Police said. But where was Hillsborough County to investigate this? To Maya Collins' point, y'all allowed an outsourced entity to investigate a situation that should have been handled on the inside. Oh, wait, it was covered up and people lied. So this child never received services. When she pulled her child out of school and the child was absent, that no one called her to see if she was okay or her son was okay. No one offered any resources. No social worker, contacted her about resources for, her son. No one talked about anything with truancy. And now she has her child in a private school. What were the questions asked then? There were so many questions that, were asked of these people. And I don't understand why we're here. We're here because, again, Teaching for the Culture did this investigation when I went up to the school. I partnered up with Elvis Piggott. He was talking with Maya Collins, and we teamed together to get receipts. And in this Google folder that was provided to the district in February had receipts of different fire code violations where, things were covered up. And I showed y'all can go back and watch it, of written statements from teachers that are putting their name on the line despite of the retaliatory tactics that plague this district. And we are still here. No accountability. And I don't want to hear no lip service to say we gonna fix it. We have new leadership now. I don't want to hear it. Because during this same time, the superintendent search was going on. So we can't say that, I understand that Addison Davis wasn't officially in the seat when this took place. And, Jeff obviously was there. But Addison Davis was CC'd in these emails too. He was CC'd in these correspondence. And so he's well aware. Board members are well aware. And here we go. They've been giving us the runaround since September. This is Kristen. She's one of the people that spoke up, said justice for Amari. One of the people that wrote a statement. She was on the Zoom call with us 2 weeks ago. And we were asking questions about what was going to be the procedure moving forward. We were told that they were going to follow the process to have individual interviews with each of the people involved. Maya Collins was not interviewed. And then when you interview the teachers and when you interview the staff, okay, you asking them very broad questions, so much so that it alarms them to where they contact me. So, receipt time. Because what y'all not gonna do is abuse children and think that y'all gonna get away with it. I'm not protecting child abusers. I'm not protecting people that just don't do right for our kids. Our kids are dying out here. Our kids are struggling out here. And you mean to tell me that we can't even handle this situation that took place in October, September? reported in the news in November, was talked about in was talked about during public comments in January, where a whole investigation folder was prepared in February, where then the superintendent and school board members got reintroduced to this in March. And we're now in April. So I don't give any sympathies. I don't feel bad for putting this information out on the internet because I've gave the district a lot of time to get this going. Elvis Piggott, how you doing? I can send you the link if you want to hop on. We doing this investigation with LaVoy. I appreciate Elvis Piggott for helping me with this because he's the one that connected me to Maya Collins to where we can bridge this investigation. And he was right there with the emails. He was right there with the Zoom calls asking for accountability. He spoke at school board meetings about the same situation. And when Maya was up there talking, he was the one that was holding Amari because he was crying because he was scared. Now, y'all want to play these games and I don't have time. This is the email that I received today at 11:34 a.m. Good morning, Bianca. I just ran out of a meeting with Mrs. McCray and staff. It was very short meeting, approximately 10 minutes. This meeting really didn't touch any of the situations that have happened at LaVoy. This meeting was more of a communication than anything else. Before coming into having this meeting, I thought we would have all been in this together, but I do not understand that they would want an insight from us. But now I question what is next. Is there going to be another meeting? Is this going to get swept under the rug? This was one of the emails I got. People who risked it all to talk about this. Okay. Another email. Good morning. I was the first person on today's meeting. I was treated with respect and they were very professional. The meeting was mainly about communication and services at the school, but none of our current situations and concerns were addressed. I mentioned briefly about the scheduling and how our EBD students have been inappropriately treated in the past 2 years. The meeting was very broad and mainly about the school culture. These are the emails I got today. So we talking about, I was very clear 2 weeks ago when I had this meeting with the people in the district that I need some accountability. And you mean to tell me that you gave these people lip service today on these Zoom meetings, think you're doing something. And you think I'm not going to say nothing? No, because I've been talking about this since February. The teacher's been talking about it since September. Still don't have no accountability. Okay. So this is what I sent, and I'm going to close off with this. This is the email that I sent to Addison Davis today. And this was after receiving several emails from parents and teachers about their experience with this short Zoom meeting to collect school culture, but it didn't talk about the abuse. It didn't talk about the falsified FTE reports. It didn't talk about the falsified police report. It didn't talk about the alleged abuse by Ms. Morris. Didn't talk about none of that. Nope. Sure didn't. So let me read this real quick. Good morning, Mr. Davis. We currently have a situation. The interviews conducted were broad and did not address or discuss the real issues teachers and parents wanted to address. I will be adding several emails to the Google Drive folder of these exchanges. This Google Drive was prepared in February, and I'm looking for action. Children were abused on this campus, and it was covered up. In fact, several witnesses came forward to say the principal and Miss Morris lied to the police. This is a crime. I do not understand how these people are still employed. Pastor Elvis Piggott and I have spoken out about this several times. During these Zoom interviews, the teachers and parents still do not feel heard. The district reports teachers who work together on ESOL courses, but we still have people employed that have abused children and lack integrity. So with that, I'm going to end you with that. I hope that you share this information. I hope that you fight for justice for Amari. I hope that you fight for justice for these teachers because they continue to be gassed. They literally feel that they're back at square one and that no one is listening to them, but they have their receipts. So do what you will with this information. I hope that you share, but I want Lisa Yost accountable. I want Miss Statham, the principal at LaVoy, accountable. I want Miss Morris, the teacher, accountable. I want everyone that had their hand in this, that knew about the abuse taking place and said nothing, did nothing. So the people who knew about this, Tracy Brown knew about this, Shane McCray knew about this, Kim Workman knew about this, Lynn Gray knew about this. All the board members knew about it because they were speaking about this at the school board meeting in January 14, 2020 to be exact. So all school board members knew, the superintendent knew, the old superintendent knew. Everybody know about this situation. Now the public know about this situation. Now I hope that the media knows about this situation. So now we can have some true accountability because the taxpayers are still paying the salary for these folks that don't care about our vulnerable population at LaVoy Exceptional Center. And the teachers are not all bad. The teachers want to just be able to teach their kids in peace, but they have a hostile work environment and they are afraid of their jobs. This is something that's very inappropriate. This is something that needs to be addressed. And I am tired of the games and charades being played in this district. I want accountability. I want answers. Teacher for the Culture wants answers. The community wants answers. Maya Collins wants answers. We need answers. We need solutions. And I don't want to hear the run around about we gonna fix it. I want somebody to be terminated. I want some certificates to be snatched. I want some more investigations to take place. And I want people to be held accountable. We need to operate in the 3 principles. And I continue to say that. And I hope everyone is listening. Number 1 is accountability. So if you make a mistake, own up to it and address it. Number 2 is integrity. Operating in integrity, doing what's right with the best mindset, with, you know, and the last one is transparency, meaning being very truthful and accurate with what you say. Because there's principals walking around here that and lied to the police. That is a crime. Hey, TPD, we need to open a reinvestigation at LaVoy Exceptional Center because the principal and the teacher that abused the student has lied to y'all. That's a crime. Y'all have interfered with a police investigation. And then if you paid attention to what Maya Collins said, the teacher's the one that had reported the abuse. And they was scared to report the abuse. And those teachers was retaliated against when DCF was walking around trying to figure out what was going on. The school didn't even report it. And Maya Collins still didn't get the documentation that she requested, the seclusion log. What happened? But again, in writing, they know that this school has been falsifying that. There's certain particular teachers that has been falsifying that. Let me be very clear. A lot of the teachers just want to do what's best for their children. They love their children, and they're there. That is a very vulnerable population, and they love their job. But recently they expressed with the leadership change, their moral and their culture went to crap. And this is why you have to hire the best people with the right intentions when you have the most vulnerable populations. This is why we can't continue to keep moving these achievement school teachers and achievement school principals from left to right and think that the school culture is going to be successful. And since we're here, since y'all listening, Richard Shanti wasn't the issue at Jennings Middle School.